Steve Witkoff met with the Qatari Prime Minister, who also serves as Foreign Minister. Meanwhile, Tehran is warning of a heavy assault against U.S. assets in the region if Iranian vessels face aggression, and says countries that sanction Iran will face problems when their vessels attempt to transit the Strait of Hormuz. Earlier, a Qatari tanker loaded with liquid natural gas crossed the strait and is on its way to Pakistan, according to ship tracking data. It's the first Qatari-owned and operated tanker to cross the waterway since the war with Iran began. For more on this, I'm joined now by CNN's Jerusalem Bureau Chief Oren Lieberman. So, Oren, on that U.S. proposal, still no answer from Iran.
It was on Friday that President Donald Trump said they were expecting that evening a response from Iran to the latest U.S. ceasefire proposal to end the war. It's now 2 days later, and here we are still waiting for that Iranian response. And what that goes to show is that Iran simply isn't feeling the pressure to move this along quickly, to try to rush to a deal, crucially, to make concessions on any of the key issues that the U.S. is going for, that is the highly enriched uranium, nuclear facilities, or anything else. Iran feels that time is on its side and it's willing to drag out these negotiations, or at the very least, not rush them along. Meanwhile, we have seen some continued exchanges of fire between the U.S. and Iran over the weekend and late last week, but what's really escalating here is the rhetoric. Iran has said that if its tankers are disabled or if its forces under attack, it will carry out what it calls a heavy assault against U.S. military facilities in the region. We have already seen late last week Iran fired at U.S. warships that were transiting the Strait of Hormuz, according to U.S. Central Command. And after that, following that, and in retaliation, the U.S. carried out strikes on Iranian military facilities, though neither side seemed to handle it as a major violation of the ceasefire, and it clearly didn't lead to all-out war. It shows how volatile the entire situation remains as there is an effort to try to move forward negotiations here. But right now, that very much, at least from the U.S. perspective, relies on Iran responding to the latest U.S. proposal. To try to move things along, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff met with the Qatari Prime Minister. Qatar doesn't seem to be taking a leading role here, but they're trying to work to ensure that Pakistan's mediation efforts show progress. And that's what we're really waiting to see right now, because this entire process seems stuck. Iran, meanwhile, has made clear that they view the Strait of Hormuz as one of their own strategic assets, and they've said and made clear they're not willing to give it up in negotiations. That creates a major hurdle diplomatically to try to get negotiations to go anywhere. So it'll be crucial to see how the U.S. handles this. It's also worth noting that a Qatari vessel loaded with liquefied natural gas passed the Strait of Hormuz early this morning. It is the first Qatari vessel to pass the strait since this war began now more than 2 months ago. The UK's maritime agency said another vessel also came under attack on Sunday. So it shows the threats that ships not only are still under, but still feel they are under, and that is why the strait remains effectively and largely closed.
New this morning, in the war on Iran, the first Qatari tanker has crossed the Strait of Hormuz since the conflict began. Ship tracking data shows the ship is on its way to Pakistan carrying liquid natural gas. In the meantime,